Hello and welcome again to the Writer Review. I am Eric Carruth Writer, and this week we're going to be taking a look back at the 1973 movie Enter the Dragon. Now, Enter the Dragon is a martial arts action film that runs for an hour and 42 minutes long, and it's directed by Robert Clouse, and it was written by Michael Allin, and the stars of the movie are Bruce Lee, John Saxon, Jim Kelly, Kien Shih, Sammo Hung, and also features a very young Jackie Chan, Bolo Young, and Robert Wall. Now, even though I have only seen a handful of martial arts films in my lifetime, Enter the Dragon introduced the martial arts action films to North American audiences, and have since then, fans have been begging for more to come out of Hong Kong. I like to think of it as kind of a beginner's guide of the martial arts genre, and a film that set the tone for many years to come. The Western world has been pandering at this film ever since its release, and this also marked the end of an era for Bruce Lee, who sadly passed away before the final product was released. And I believe this was actually the only North American export movie that Bruce Lee was in. I mean, I know he's done a handful of movies set in Hong Kong, but this was actually the first one that was ever exported and exposed to the North American audience. Enter the Dragon is definitely no doubt one of the greatest films of its genre, but it's still not the greatest film ever to be released. But then again, what do you expect? I mean, this is not Citizen Kane. I mean, this is a fucking Bruce Lee action movie where we're not, going to be dazzled by some heart-rendering moments or any shit like that. We're here to see Bruce Lee kick ass. We're here to see fights. We're here to see violence. We're here to see carnage. And, this movie, too, also has a bit of a James Bond-like espionage to go along with it. So, if you're not into martial arts movies, well, maybe this movie may not necessarily be for you. But, however, if you are an aficionado of the espionage James Bond type movie, well, then this is also something for you to offer. Sure, it actually opened the door to hearts of millions, while at the same time a myriad of rip-offs tried to emulate the movie, but most of them had failed. Because let's face it, Enter the Dragon is the landmark to the martial arts film genre. It's the king of them all, and I don't think any other movie could ever top that. It is definitely, it's not my all-time favorite martial arts film, but, it is among the top 10. I would say probably around maybe third place after the first Rush Hour movie and The Legend of Drunken Master. Those are like number ones, and number two, Enter the Dragon comes in probably at around number 3. Every time I see Enter the Dragon, it kind of makes me feel a little bit sad at times. I mean, it was the last movie ever made by Bruce Lee, who died weeks before the film hit the shelf. I know there were like 2 other posthumous movies that was released in Hong Kong before his death, which eventually then was exported to North America. But I kept thinking to myself that if Lee saw the pre-released shelf, I was often wondering if this would be the movie that would have made him a star, and that would have been a legend had he lived longer. Do you think that he would have been even more of an icon in the North American audience had he lived longer? I don't know. I wasn't alive at the time, so I don't know the full answers to that. The main story of Enter the Dragon is pretty simple and straightforward. It's about 3 participants named Lee, played by Bruce Lee, Roper, played by John Saxon, and Williams, played by Jim Kelly. They enter a tournament on Han Island, set up by a evil Shaolin monk named Han, played by Kien Shih, who uses this island for his competition, but he's also involved in other shady dealings, which includes the drug opium. He's part of an opium trade, and he also uses this island for prostitution. And, you know, he has some kind of a bit of a strict regiment that if you're not for him, you're against him, and if you don't follow his rules, severe consequences will be occurred. Roper and Williams are former Vietnam War veterans, and they are competing for personal reasons. Roper is, of course, a rich, successful playboy, but also at the same time he is running through some financial gains. He also has kind of mix-ins with the mafia, so he's a bit in a bind in that kind of situation. And Williams, in his story, he was abducted by racist cops, and he kind of like took off in a stolen police car. So he's also like he has also kind of like been hiding out in the island as well. But Lee, he's here by assignment from the British government to track down Han. And I don't think Lee needs too much pull, because, you know, he has his heart set on revenge to go after Han. Because Lee also finds that it is his destiny to take down the shady fiend, since Han and his misfits take full responsibility for the death of his little sister as a result of Han's activities. Sure, the story is narrow, thin, and the outcome is predictable, but the fight scenes are there to serve a purpose for this story. The fight scenes are some of the best ever displayed and are never short from entertaining. Roper, Williams, and Han are definitely at the top of their game, and they are all in excellent fight scenes. And Bruce Lee was physically and mentally in the best shape of his life. His training, his speed, and his tenacity can forgive all of the, you know, essential contrivances to the plot that this movie has to offer. Hey, when it comes to kung fu action scenes, it's the fighting is what you bought your ticket for. I mean, what more do you expect? Nothing more. It's an action flick. It's not a heartwarming story. It's not about changing our lives or looking at the world in a different way. Even though, you know, there's a lot of great philosophy behind Lee's training and his fighting regiments, and there is actually quite a bit of some philosophical stuff in here that's actually displayed in a very intelligent demeanor that has often been overlooked, because, let's face it, we didn't come for that kind of stuff. We came to see action and nothing more. Even the lesser prominent characters turn in some excellent fight scenes, including Sammo Hung, Bolo Young, Bob Wall, Yuen Bao, and a teenager named Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan, I think, appears in 2 scenes. One of the more common one was, I think, in the cave scene where Bruce Lee breaks Jackie Chan's neck The technical features are also a sight for sore eyes, and that includes the big budget sets, the extras playing here, the props, the costume, the musical score by Lilo Schifrin definitely sounds like something to come out of a Bond movie, because it did have a bit of a Bond-like atmosphere. It has everything to set the tone as the truly original martial arts action film. There might be better fight sequences out there, but in Enter the Dragon, it doesn't come any bigger. While the acting is very good for what it is, remember it's not Citizen Kane, and the plot is satisfying to the point where it carries in the action, but the fight scenes are what sells this movie. If this is not your type of movie, then I suggest you find something that suits you best. But for martial arts action lovers, Enter the Dragon is something for everyone to enjoy. If you have the extended DVD, it's good to watch many times, because you never know. You may even find something new through every viewing. So I guess that kind of ends the writer review for this week. If I was to give it a scale out of 1 to 10, I would probably give this one an 8.5. I mean, a lot of exciting action. It's got espionage. I'm a big fan of James Bond. I love the Bourne series. So, it definitely has that. Well, of course, you expect a lot of violence thrown in. Very engaging characters. The villain himself, Mr. Han, reminds me a bit like an oriental version of Ernest Blofeld. And he could almost pass off as like a Bond villain. He definitely does have that ability to come across as a Bond villain. And he's just very, very convincing. So I would recommend you to see the movie. If you ever get a chance to see the 30th anniversary edition of it, you'll see some extended scenes, and I think it carries on a little bit longer than an hour and 42 minutes. Not very much, but a lot of things eventually get glued together through the uncut edition. So thank you very much for your time. Please write back to me. I would very much appreciate it. Remember, be kind, be courteous, and take care of yourselves. And I bid you all farewell, and I'll be back again with another exciting movie review. Goodbye, everyone.